welcome back to the Craft Castle. My name is Ashley and I need to know, and it is okay because you're going to be watching this in the privacy of your own home, but raise your hand if you have a Cricut still sitting in the box because you are overwhelmed to unbox that. Raise your hand, be honest. Now for the crafters that haven't raised your hands because you have taken your Cricut out of your box, raise your hand if you find the Cricut super overwhelming and frustrating. If you have your hand raised for either of those questions, you've found yourself in the right space. A little bit of background about me. I have been a Cricut user since 2012, and you can clearly tell by my stack, I love owning a Cricut machine. And if you haven't seen, I'm actually able to use all of my Cricuts all at one time. Most of the time when I post videos like that, I get two common comments. One, oh my goodness, I've had my machine stuck in a box for a long time. It's overwhelming. Or two, I can't seem to figure out how to operate that machine. Lucky for you, you have found yourself in the right spot. Now, I want to help you grow to love your Cricut. So we are going to go down to the very basics. In this web series, I'm going to give you 10 of the most easiest projects that you can do to master your Cricut. So by the end of project 10, you are going to be like a fine oiled machine and you're going to have so much fun learning your machine that you are just going to keep on creating, and maybe one day you'll end up with this many just like me. The great thing about this web series is that I have created to where you do not have to buy any type of special equipment. You've already spent the money on the Cricut. You don't need to buy a heat press. You don't need to buy a printer. You're just going to need your Cricut and then some random supplies. The random supplies should be at very minimal cost. Because we're learning our machines, I don't want there to be a whole lot of startup cost to learning the machines because that can become frustrating real quick. Nothing is worse than spending $100+ on a Cricut and then saying to yourself, gosh, I have to spend $200 on a heat press or $100 more on a printer. So these 10 projects are going to be the most budget-friendly projects, but they're going to teach you the basics on how to use Cricut Design Space, but then also your Cricut. So you're not frustrated at the end of project 10. The very first project we're gonna work on today is using vinyl. The reason why we're gonna start with vinyl is most Cricut users start with vinyl. Now there are two different types of vinyl. One is just vinyl, and this is the sticky stuff that you're gonna put on cups, your cars, your walls, labeling, glassware, all of those things is what you would use sticky vinyl for. The next type of vinyl is called HTV, which is also called heat transfer vinyl. That stuff is what you would generally put on your t-shirts or any type of clothing garments. Today, we're gonna work with the sticky stuff. Now, I can tell you when you opened your Cricut, you probably received a starter piece of vinyl material. That is your Cricut branded vinyl material. Just throw it out. Whatever you do, throw it out. As an experienced Cricut crafter, you do not want to use Cricut branded materials. Their machines and their software are amazing, but their materials, not so much. Now, what I would suggest doing, because it would be more affordable for you, is picking up a sample pack of tech wrap vinyl. What you get in the sample pack is a whole bunch of different colors of high quality vinyl. The one thing that I want you to know within this series is not only am I gonna make it frustration free by doing some really simple and easy projects, but I'm gonna give you the most frustration free materials because they truly go hand in hand. Nothing worse than using some really crappy Cricut material and then you're left with projects that don't look great, don't stand up great because of the quality of the material. The great thing about a sampler pack is you get a ton of different colors. The other thing is it comes with transfer tape, which is something that you need when working with that sticky vinyl stuff. So sampler packs come with a whole bunch of different colors and then also transfer tape. So really all you're gonna need to buy is something like this. All the supplies that I suggest you purchasing for this video will be linked in the description of this video. So all you're gonna need to do is click the links and it will take you to the shopping list that I've created for you. I promise there is as budget friendly but highest quality as possible. Now what you're gonna need is a couple hand towels that you have on hand, or you could use balled up shirts or something like that to hold your glass together. I personally am gonna be using one of these silicone holders because I have that in my craft room, but if you just had two hand towels, it would do the same as this. The next supply that you're gonna need, and do not go out and buy any type of blanks. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your kitchen cupboard and you're gonna pull out a glass. I personally am gonna be using a glass mason jar that I just have laying around in my craft room. But for you, just go into your cupboard and grab any type of glass. It's okay if the glass has stuff on it because vinyl technically isn't permanent. So once we apply the decal, if you change your mind, you could just take the decal off. But I just want to show you how we're going to design, cut, and apply the vinyl to our cups frustration free. So for you, just grab a mug, a glass, plastic cup, anything like that that you have laying around in your kitchen. Grab that, bring it to your craft area so we can get started. Okay, the very first thing we're gonna do is head over to Cricut Design Space and do a little design work. Remember what I said in the beginning of this video. This is video 1 out of a series of 10 videos. So this video is going to be the easiest. It's gonna be okay. By the time you're done with this video, you will be so happy with your vinyl decal that you're gonna be wanting to go to video 2 and then so forth. I promise you will have a good vinyl decal by the time we're done with this. All right, let's get started. Okay, the very first thing you want to do is open up Cricut Design Space. This is what your landing page is going to look like. Then what you want to do is come over here to New Project. This is what a blank window in Cricut Design Space will look like. Now, the very first thing we want to do is do a very easy and basic name decal. What you want to do is come over here to the text box and just click on that. And this window is going to pop up. You can insert any name that you want to use for this project. I am just going to use the word mama. Now what you want to do is come up here into fonts and we want to click on that. Now this box is going to pop up. Just a fun little note, you can move this box around. So if it's over here blocking your font, you can just move it out of the way. Now what you want to do is select the text that you want to use for your vinyl decal. Now, do you see this letter A right here? This letter A indicates that this font right here is a Cricut Access font. What Cricut Access is a monthly membership that you get thousands of fonts and files for a small fee. When you first get your Cricut, you should have been given 30 days of a free trial for Cricut Access. So if you wanted to use all the Access fonts and images, you totally can for the first 30 days. Now, I have been a Cricut user since 2012, and I have used and paid for Cricut Access ever since they first came out with their membership. I love having the ability to have all of this accessible to me at a fingertip versus trying to find other fonts or images on a different website. So just keep that in mind. I personally pay for Cricut Access. So at this point, what you want to do is find a font that you love. Now for me, I have a particular font that I like to use. So I'm just going to come up here into the search and I'm going to put DTC October Daylight. This is a Cricut Access font, but I am just going to click on it and then click out. And you can see that now my font has been changed over. Now what you want to do is resize this decal to the size that you want. So for me, I'm going to do a couple different sizes. So I'm going to do 3 inches on this one and press return. I am going to Command C and Command V, which is copy and paste. If you don't want to do keyboard shortcuts, you could also right click and you could do copy, paste, or even duplicate would work. For this second one, I'm going to do a 4-inch decal. And for this one right here, I'm going to do a 5-inch decal. I'm just going to show you different ways a decal will look when it's done being cut. Now let's say you wanted to add a cute little flower or a heart or something more to this decal because we are going to be putting it on a cup, you know? What you want to do is come over here to images. Now this is where you're going to be able to search images in Cricut Design Space. Now I do have to tell you, if you're not paying for Cricut Access, they don't have a lot of images available to you. The quickest and easiest way to find all free images is to come over here to where it says free and click on that. Cricut Design Space currently has 3,068 free images that you can use. Now for me, I pay for access. So for me, I pay for Cricut Access. So what I want to do is I want to add in a flower. So I'm just going to search for flower in the search field and press return. Now, these are all the flowers that are going to be available to you, 19,000 of just flowers. Okay, when you pay for Cricut Access, remember that you have this A right here, and you should see like it crossed out. That's perfect. Now what you want to do is find a flower that you want to use. I like this one right here. It's nice and cute, and it has the letter A, and there's no fee to it. So I'm just going to press this plus sign, and then I'm going to press view. So there is my cute little flower. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this flower smaller. So I'm just going to come over here to where I have my diagonal line, and I'm just going to make it smaller. And I'm going to arrange this flower near the end of Mama. Now I want this flower to go in the other two larger names, right? So I'm going to click on my flower. I'm going to copy and paste, Command C and Command V. And I'm going to drag this flower over here. And we're going to make it just a little bit bigger. Doing the same thing, I want another flower for my largest one. So I'm going to click on my flower, Command C, Command V, or copy and paste. And I'm going to drag this over here and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Now, this is the end of the design process. However, there is still two things we need to do in order to make sure that these are going to be perfectly cut together. Now you can tell in my larger version that you have this like line that's right here between the A and the M. Same thing with right here and right here. If you were to cut this out just the way that it looks, what will happen is you will get cut lines that slice through here and here, making your vinyl decal not look cute. The other thing is that you're going to see is that these two decals right here, the flower and the name, are two different colors. So if we were to go and cut this out, what would happen is you would get two different mats. And I only wanted one color today. So what you want to do is since I'm only going to be using one color of vinyl today, I'm going to select everything. And I'm going to come up here to this question mark right here. And I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change this over just to a different color. Now you could change it over to the color of vinyl that you're using, but honestly, it doesn't matter as long as you know that this is the color of vinyl that you're going to be using. So I'm just going to choose one so we can see what we're doing. Now that we have them all one color, what you should have already done is had your flowers next to the name that you want to use today, and this technically is what you want your final decal to look like. Mama with a flower or a heart, whatever you want at the very end. However, if we were to go and make this, do you see how our mamas and flowers are all rearranged very weirdly? We didn't want that, right? So what you want to do is you want to select your mama and your flower for the one decal. And we want to come down here to combine and then weld. So not only did we get rid of those lines, but we also put the flower with the mama name. And so this right here is one full piece. Now we can select the second decal, which is this right here. And you could come down here to combine and then weld again. Or you could also right click and press combine and then weld. So now this right here is a second full vinyl decal. Doing the same thing with this one right here. We're going to select the flower and the name. We are going to right click, press combine, and then weld. So now when we go to make, these right here are all going to be your finished decals with the mama and the flower grouped together, and it will all cut seamlessly. Okay, now before we move forward, I just wanted to show you something really cool and easy for a first project. So let's go into cancel. And let's say you wanted to do something else that wasn't a name. You wanted a cute little design for your cup. Let's go over here into images. And I'm just going to exit out of flower because I already got a cute little flower. Remember what I said about having Cricut Access? You get access to a bunch of different files. I mean, almost 1 million cut files that you have available to you. Now, I live at the beach, so I'm going to look for something beachy and fun. So in the search field, I'm going to do beaches and press return. Now, you have the ability to choose any one of these images. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to choose this image right here. I am going to click the plus sign on this image and I'm going to press view. Now this image right here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. If we come over here to this little caret and do a drop down box, you will see all 5 colors. That is actually a little bit more difficult to assemble than just doing our regular one color decals. So what I'm going to do just to make it easy for us, because this is project 1, is I'm going to make this all one color. So I am going to right click and press combine and then weld. And now this color is not the same color as this, right? So I'm going to click on my image and I'm going to come over here into this blue or green teal color. And I'm going to change it over to my same blue that I have here. Now what I'm going to do is resize this to the decal size that I need. And then we're just going to press make. So now for my project, I'm going to have 3 different size names and then also this beach cutout. Wasn't that so easy to design? Okay, now let's go over to the Cricut and we will set up our Cricut. Okay, the very first thing you want to do is turn your machine on and we are going to open our machine up. Okay, then you want to take your Cricut mat and then our piece of vinyl. I'm going to be using this really shiny metallic stuff and I'm going to put this at the top left corner of my mat. Then what I'm going to do is insert this into our machines. You want to make sure that it's underneath these plastic piece right here. Okay, for this machine, it's a Cricut Explorer Air 2. What you want to do is take your dial, and I am using kind of like a metallic vinyl. So I'm going to go to the vinyl and then there's like a dot that's above your vinyl. You're going to want to put your dot on your dial in between the vinyl and the iron-on mode. If you're using a standard vinyl that doesn't have like any shine or glitter or anything to it, then you would just want to cut this on the vinyl mode. But because I have a metallic one loaded in, I'm going to go a little bit higher. Metallics and glitters generally are made a little bit thicker than the standard ones, which is why I'm going to the Vinyl Plus. Over on my computer, I just want to press continue and it's going to connect onto my Cricut. You can see on my computer where it says Vinyl Plus. That is perfect because that's where I have my dial set. When you have the dial set to the correct setting, your computer should read what you're supposed to be cutting. Then all you want to do is press that blinking C button. Now when your machine is done, what it's going to do is prompt you to eject it. However, before we do that, what I want to do is I'm going to take my weeding tool pen and I am going to try and take up my vinyl. If my vinyl weeds, so what weeding is taking away the stuff you don't want. If my vinyl is weeding fine and the decal that I do want is staying on this white sheet, then I can eject my material. However, if you did not get a good cut on your vinyl, instead of pressing this eject button, press the C button again. Your machine will suck the mat back in and redo the cut. Now, when the machine is done cutting a second time, you want to check it again. If it didn't work, then keep pressing the C button until it does cut all the way through. But if you got a good clean cut your very first cut, which I have, then all you want to do is just eject your material. Okay, we can set aside our machine and also press done on our Cricut Design Space. I personally love weeding on my mat because it's nice and flat and sticky. The other thing that I love is to have on hand is some scissors because we can pull away and cut away the excess of our material so it doesn't stick back onto our vinyl decal. Now what I'm going to do is just take some scissors and I'm going to cut away the excess material. So all of this right here, this bottom, is actually still usable material that you could use for a different project. So I'm going to cut it away before I finish my weeding so I don't waste all of this, because once it gets taken off of that white backing sheet, you won't be able to use it again. Now what you want to do is keep weeding out your vinyl decal, which is taking away the stuff you don't want. Now when I have a lot of vinyl On my hand, I'm just going to cut away the excess. The last thing you want to do is have your vinyl stick to each other, because then it'll lift away the stuff you do want. Okay, so I have the big pieces all taken away. Now what I'm going to do is go back in and I'm going to weed out the inner portions of my letters. Now these weeding pens, seriously, don't sleep on them. They are so much better than the picks that Cricut sells. Okay, this is what your finished decal should look like. It just looks absolutely amazing. When you have a brand new sticky mat, they are going to be exceptionally sticky. Do not pull your material away from your mat. What you want to do is turn this upside down, and you want to roll your mat away from your material. Keeping your hand on your material, you just want to keep on rolling your mat. So now your mat is still clean and your material is nice and flat. Then what you're going to need is some transfer tape. This should have came in your starter pack. You want to take your transfer tape and cut a piece of transfer tape the same size as your vinyl decal. This right here you can save because this is still usable. And then what you want to do is taking your transfer tape, you want to roll the corner over and pop your transfer tape away from the paper backing. So what you're going to be left with is something that's sticky. Now what you want to do is we're going to roll this away. Just start a little bit of your transfer tape, and we are going to put this on top of our vinyl decal. Now I'm going to be using something that looks like this. It's a scraping tool. If you don't have something like this, that is okay. You don't need to run out and buy one. All you need is a credit card or a ruler, something nice and hard that you're going to be able to squeegee onto your vinyl. So what I'm going to do is turn it around. You have this lip, right? I'm going to take my thing, put it down towards my vinyl decal, and I'm just going to move my transfer tape onto my decal. When you do that, you should be rolling away the paper backing from your transfer tape. So this is what you should be left with. Your transfer tape is now on your vinyl decal, and this right here is the backing of your transfer tape. You can go ahead and throw this away if you wanted to. Now what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm just going to trim my vinyl decals and separate them from everything. Okay, then we have this right here, our finished vinyl decal. And then for me, I created 3 different size mama decals with that flower. Didn't these turn out so cute? Okay, now let's apply our vinyl decal onto our glass. Now, you are going to need any type of glass. It doesn't matter what type of glass. The thing that I am using is called a cup cradle, and it's silicone. If you do not have one of these, don't run out and buy one. All you need is 2 washcloths of some sort to cradle your cup into place so it doesn't wiggle around on you. You're also going to need some rubbing alcohol, and then just a paper towel or a dust-free cloth will work as well. What you want to do is take your rubbing alcohol and you want to put the rubbing alcohol on your blank, rubbing the rubbing alcohol all over your blank. The reason why we do this is to remove any type of dust, dirt, or oils from our skin from touching our blank. This makes sure that your decal gets nice and stuck and glued onto your blank and doesn't start to peel off right away. Now I do have to remind you that vinyl is not a permanent thing. There are steps that we can do to ensure that it will last long, like doing rubbing alcohol. But if you were to put this vinyl decaled cup inside the dishwasher, chances are it won't be there when it's done and it will have washed off, because vinyl is not a permanent thing. Okay, when you get done wiping off your cup, make sure not to touch this. You can see my hand is inside my cup and I'm not touching the cup. We're going to put this into our cup cradle, or if you're using towels, you want to just put them next to your cup to cradle your cup. Then what you want to do is take your decal. Now I'm going to use the smallest one. You could either put it like this or like this, whichever way works best for your cup. You want to make sure that your cup is dry. Then what you're going to do is take your vinyl decal, taking your weeding tool pick, and you want to turn your decal over, and we want to peel away the white backing of our vinyl. When you do that, you are going to have something that looks like this, where the white backing is coming off and your vinyl is stuck to your transfer tape. That's exactly what you want. You want your vinyl stuck to your transfer tape and not the white backing. See how it just released so easily? Now what you want to do is turn this around and you want to put this onto your glass cup. So I'm going to do it at an angle. Now, not touching your glass. You want to only touch the top of the vinyl decal. We are going to push this onto our vinyl decal just with our fingers for right now. Then what you want to do is taking your credit card or your ruler or this type of, this scraper, and you want to push down on your vinyl decal. When you've pushed it down nice and good, then taking your vinyl weeding pick, and you want to peel up the transfer tape, leaving your vinyl decal behind. Then what you want to do is taking your scraper again, and you just want to rub on your vinyl decal one more time just to make sure it's nice and good and stuck on there. Because we took the transfer tape off, we were essentially pulling on your vinyl decal, and you could possibly have released a little bit of that glue, creating an air bubble in between your vinyl decal and your glass. So just by taking your scraping tool and rubbing your vinyl down one more time will ensure that it's really good and stuck on your glass. And that is your finished decal right there, perfectly put on there. I hope you had so much fun today learning how to make vinyl decals on your Cricut. For our next project, what we're going to be working on is single layer HTV projects, or heat transfer vinyl, which is totally different than that sticky vinyl stuff that we use today. Now, before the next video, you just want to make sure and have a couple blanks on hand. Don't go out and buy anything, my crafty friend. If you have random things around your house that don't have any decorations, you're going to want to grab it. All right, y'all, I sure hope you had so much fun today, and I'll see you at project 2.